Why are they first picking Renekton? And I love that it's KT Rolster as well. Hope you're doing okay there, Monty. Okay, let's see what the answer is going to be.
It's the
Shuriman theme, and I like this so much. The fact that Faker can go back to one of his all-time comfort picks and deny it from BDD at the same time is brilliant.
And this is T1 leaning into that narrative we've had over the last 2 weeks of play what works for you, play what you're good at, play your style. And with the Corki ban, this one becomes pretty self-explanatory. Now the cannon to come through here, a ranged pick here into the Renekton, can keep him at arm's length. The Vi Talia. As soon as the Azir was locked in, you and I both knew that's the exact angle we'd be seeing with KT. So much single target here with the Renekton. You've got
the Xayah was picked and it just wasn't the angle. This time I think it's less egregious only because T1 have much less range, right? They don't have a poke angle in this composition, and they are very much like, we're going to front load our damage, we're going to go for the Wombo combo, and Featherstorm is very, very good into that. There are still a whole bunch of those issues that we already listed. Deft is going to have to play very, very well, but I think he will be able to auto-attack at least in this composition.
I think the biggest factor of how this early game is going to go is going to be Pyosik versus Owner. You know, Pyosik's had Owner's number in some very important matches in the past.
Yeah.
Back to that World Championship. But the early game here, I think, is where KT really need to get the ball rolling. If they can get ahead, I feel like the Xayah pick absolutely can work out. The Renekton will have a little bit more longevity. But if it's an even game state early on, the Azir gets to scale, you've got the MF setup, I think T1 win out every time.
Yeah, it's looking like we're back to some T1 drafts that look like they suit them, and that is absolutely fantastic. Let's dive onto the Rift for game number 1 of the Telecom War. Oh, it is a full house here at LoL Park for the Telecom War. And already we have vision turned off, and Keria is going to have to flash very early on. Well, you can see he looks like he's calmly walking away. I would have had a small heart attack.
At least he reacts very quickly there. Will lose his flash, so definitely a net negative, as that will really weaken.
Nope. Hex Flash activation before 1 minute. That is Keria absolutely
He already used
winning.
it. He used it to go over the wall. Look at him. Got the value.
See? And then crashes back over again. Look at that ward. Gorgeous.
Hex Flash. He would have never flashed that wall
with
regular Flash, but with Hex Flash, it's like, oh, totally worth.
I know, and it feels like you're allowed to do it, you know? Feels like a party foul. I do it every game. You know, I flash out a fountain to get to that pixel brush a little bit earlier, as Beryl is going to walk over some vision. Gumayusi lying in wait here. We'll have Keria coming down to join him pretty early. Might be just a little tussle at level 1.
Could be MF gonna get that big first auto, and if she could set up the press the attack, feels nice. But Keria is hiding in the brush.
Oh, shout out to Swarm, by the way, that Misfortune skin.
Yeah,
very cool stuff. Jungle. I don't think Owner knows that a ward went into that brush there either. As we're going to just do the same thing. It's a bit of a do-si-do.
But the winner of this is Zeus, who's pulling the Renekton, you know, pushing the wave in. Is okay, here we go.
Yeah, Pyosik fighting against Owner here, who does manage to steal this one away. There's a lightning rush over. The stun comes out immediately, though, from Perfect. And Pyosik going to get smashed into the ground. The flash out from Owner as well, as now Zeus is in an extraordinarily uncomfortable position. Seismic Shove is going to miss. And oh my goodness, is it going to work? The turret! Oh, he was almost out of there. Trying to get towards it, wants to get the mana wants to get the experience. As Owner was tanking this one up, we've got dives everywhere though as Beryl goes in and straight up whiffs. That's going to be the crash down from Keria to try and buy some space. And Gumayusi should be falling here somehow. It almost worked, but it is going to be the 1 for 2. And T1 just kind of need to be used. In comes Owner though, as that's Beryl almost surviving. Deft also being able to get a fair bit of damage back, as now BDD throws down the wall. Keria going to knock him off. That's going to be so much damage onto this Talia. And Seismic Shove is going to... Seismic Shove is going to be utilized here. The Renekton-Talia combination. Some Shuriman friends are going to be able to take down... Pyosik really wants to kill Gumayusi, and he is just going to press the button and go for it. The quickness is down as well. Gumayusi is extraordinarily dead. That kill is going to go over...
we'll see something before that.
Yep, Perfect is just going to pre-dominance and try and keep himself alive, and it ain't going to work at all. Zeus presses his R button and just...
Control of the river back. Perfect has TP in 10 seconds. Oh, too late.
This dragon is still up and available. Faker is going to go golden, but there's the quickness. The bullet time is gigantic, though! And even Faker's sweep is going to work beautifully. Now Def, yes, he pressed the Feather Storm, but he comes down into hell once again, and T1 are going to wipe the map of KT and Perfect.
And then just be able to kite back easily, but so far, pretty heroic defense from KT.
Yep, and now we've got Faker having to use that Zhonya's once again. Ona taking a lot of damages. There's the bullet time. That's going to get the doubles. And Zeus just cleans up the back line. Seismic Shove does nothing. Empress Divide does everything. And T1 will cleanly ace KT. They were very patient with that play, but this is going to be the last one of the game. Surgical from T1 here in game number 1, and some well-needed revenge for them.
Them on the Azir ban, the Kennen ban was to me a step too far, but let's see how this shakes out, because the Kennen, again, very quintessential to how that comp for T1 played out and made it so difficult for them to set up those dives. They may just kind of run the draft back with this adjustment. Sejuani is going to come through here this time around. The real big question is going to be, what is Faker playing? Corki is gone. Tristana is much weaker. He has not been our greatest Tristana player this season. They will just pivot to the Jace, which was the other champion that you were alluding to. They banned in the previous game.
Oh, that's the Lee Sin.
It's happening.
Oh, thank goodness. This is what I've been calling for. I don't know, like, it wouldn't have been better than the Poppy in the last game. Ona was absolutely incredible, and I ate my words on that one. However, it's just always fun watching Ona play this champion.
I think that the Ziggs, you know, the ban here is really smart, but I almost kind of looking at this, maybe the Ziggs would have been, it's hard to say. I look at the draft of KT and I go, well, Senna is going to take a long time before she can hurt these champions, and they're going to have a lot of shields, and then also she can't hurt them if she can't see them. If they lose map control, it's tough. The same with the Jace. He's going to really struggle to land his poke if the brush setup is there constantly. Again, this is reliant on KT having an early game advantage, having a mid game advantage, and then being able to set up on those objectives, because without it, then it becomes really easy for the Jace to just kind of force brushes to be placed in places that KT don't want to have them, so try to leapfrog their way towards objectives. But there's a lot of shielding in this composition. It is definitely going to be a high-value Chemtech Dragon game.
Oh, yeah.
Mountain as well will be super high value if either of those go there. Oh, no.
We're just trying to remember the fact that it could happen.
Well, this time it's a near unanimous for KT, and so far not looking great for them. Much better draft here, in my opinion, though, in Game 2. With all these shields, the Lucian and the Renekton are going to be tough to deal with, but it does rely on so much of the setup. Here, great T1 draft. Cool flex of the Sejuani into the support role. We'll see what Carrier can get done.
Yep, I'm very interested to see whether KT can bounce back after a tough loss. Let's jump into the Rift for game number 2. All right, everyone extraordinarily loud, as per usual. Absolutely fantastic. Deft is going to be piloting the Seraphine. He's going to be conquering things there on the bottom side. I had a brief squiz at his solo queue record. And
a squiz?
A squiz. It's having a look.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay, I learned something.
You haven't heard squiz before?
No, I'll learn something else when you tell me what you saw in his...
Right. Zero. I saw no Seraphine at all. So this is hidden tech that he has been building alongside, maybe on a separate...
The gloves.
Well, Ona is going to look for him. Root Caller does come down, and there is the Weaver's Wall. Flash out from Pyoshik, but Faker follows him immediately. Now BDD is going to turn up, and there's the culling. Ona still level 5, so doesn't have the kick, and meanwhile, Zeus and Perfect are fighting. The flash out, but the flash in. First blood for BDD, and Perfect follows up immediately. That's 3 kills, and is it going to be 3 games?
I mean, it's looking more likely after this moment. Don't count T1's chances. Oh, some extra plate gold for the Seraphine. See the gold graph showing.
Yeah, Encore is going to come on through here as Ona turns up. Carrier almost dies, actually, before it even happens. As Beryl, he's under the turret. And he's going to die. That means that Deft is also really dead, but at least they get one.
Well,
there's that. Shenanigans.
Like 17.
Yeah, and we need the percentage as well. Oh, as Faker is just dead. Yeah, there's the flash forward, gets the double tap, and BDD, he's on a killing spree. He is too big right now.
And you know,
with the girls from our picture-in-picture before, is another encore going to come in as Carrier is going to get solar flared as well. There's a Zenith Blade from Carrier one more time. Sorry, from Beryl one more time as Faker is once again fighting. Box is going to come on through. He's playing with fire here as Ona comes on over, but Pyosik in perfect position. Sonic Wave not going to find the mark. And now T1 trying to rotate more friends over here to try and help out the mid lane. There's the Weaver's Wall as BDD. He's got the Trigger Seed shield. He just turns around and kills Faker. There's the kick flash as Pyosik is going to flash to get back out once again as Ona. One more turret shot and he's going to die, but that's not going to come on through. And now Deft is going to need to turn up. There is going to be the kill onto Zeus. And now Perfect comes in at the same time. Gumayusi, oh dear. Let's see whether he can get himself out of this one. Perfect is going to have a slice and or dice coming up relatively soon. His flash is also only a couple of seconds away. The flash comes through from Gumayusi though. That is going to send them out of there.
A million years to get that dragon, but
yeah, very true. All right, Perfect is just flashing forward. This guy is angry. And now Gumayusi completely out of mana, but did manage to throw down the Dawning Shadow at least. Should be able to walk this one off. So there's the flash forward as Faker's going to get interrupted. No writing on the wall for you, sir. And the solar flare is going to find the sweet spot. That is an interruption, but BDD is just going to zap him down. And Faker finds himself 0 and 4 on...
Okay. It should still be the turret.
Yeah, you can keep talking
so
about
anyway,
the other thing.
I feel like the KT are just not going to fall prey to T1 being like, I get something cross map. They're just not going to let them have anything. BDD?
Yeah, he's going to be in a whole host of trouble. The Dawning Shadow is even going to help out, and the turret loses interest in stopping T1 here. So KT will be able to answer with a dragon.
They finally got him.
Yeah. Infernal again as, okay, Beryl could find himself in a rough spot, but he's going in! There's a turret! He has a Zenith Blade, and he's getting under there, and he's surviving, for goodness sake! That was way too long to be alive, as now Deft will finally turn up. Speeds himself through here. Perfect is now going to find his entranceway, but KT have already lost one. Seismic Shove is going to knock back the Renekton, and he could be the next little pickup here as they take down the turret. Perfect is going to be alive. He's much less squishy than he was in game number 1. Has another Seismic Shove. This time, he is definitely dead. The Encore! And Deft is able to help take down Ona. Gumayusi follows immediately as Deft... I mean, the Seraphine is doing ridiculous work. He does die. T1 win the fight. But I'm still very impressed with this Seraphine.
Yeah, no, it was
dead. Seismic Shove used defensively, that is decent peel, but now the culling comes in. The Redemption layered on top. The teleport flank angle, and there is the Encore. Zeus going to be taken out. Deft is answered though. Carrier going down very low, and KT, they still have their 80 carry because it's BDD.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like accidental funnelation, okay?
Yeah.
All the gold.
Oh my goodness,
and then
it finally worked.
He's got double shields. He's having a good time. No, we actually...
Kind of ridiculous. T1, T1, yeah, looking for this one. Deft realizing that that wall is in a rough position. Let's see whether they can keep themselves alive. Is Perfect? You are just dead, my friend. The rest of your team were not there.
That was a disaster.
Yeah.
KT are going to start the Baron. T1 all around them.
Yeah, there's a Seismic Shove going to connect onto Perfect. Down to 50%. The Shock Blast is not going to land as Ona. Can he be the hero? He gets it. He steals it. And he is going to go down to the GA. Can they get themselves out alive, though? That's the question. Even Ona is able to survive, but Gumayusi's dead. The Jace is dead as well. There is not a lot of damage left in this composition. And the kick out onto Pyosik there. Deft is probably going to have the damage if he can actually land a few of these buttons. The smite comes in, and there it goes. Surround sound means that he's just never going to be able to touch the Seraphine, and even though the Baron was picked up here by T1, it's likely that KT can still do some big damage to this base.
I mean, Zeus, he did kill a lot of shields in that fight, but otherwise not able to do a whole lot. Faker alone to defend is going to be so difficult. Guma not really an 80 carry here. They have Baron buff minions.
Oh, another Solar Flare really nailed the minion as Faker's going to go golden. Seismic Shove connected in the meantime. That looked pretty good, but Faker is still dead. And Daisy, she's just wandering around. Carrier going the wrong direction, throws an ulti to Narnia, and He will be taken down. It's BDD collecting his 8th of the game as Gumayusi slinks into the mist, but he might want to stay there as this game is over. KT roaring back into the series. It would not be a telecom war without 3 games. And I'm so glad that KT were able to turn it around and give us 3 in this one.
T1 falling behind early after a really rough skirmish around the Grubs, but this composition was quite unique. The way that KT put it together was pretty cool to see. Crowd in unison here chanting. Might just leave us with that first pick Corki for T1, or they can go the Sejuani/Vi route here, play Vi Talia. But you know, you have so much power in this first pick. That's why you chose blue side. Yeah. Which one are they going to go for? I mean, the Corki is what the meta slave does in this situation, right? And when T1 have followed the meta this season, it has not been as successful as when they follow the heart of T1, what the announcer earlier called a traditional T1 style, like what we saw in Game 1, KT Rolster. But
I thought you left all of your optimism in the last game, but you've got the optimism out for T1 here as well with this draft. And I don't mind it. Like, this is a poke comp, right? We've seen these work in the past. Frontline of just a Cassante is a little bit of a worry.
Yeah, especially if this Jace can find any sort of angle, because normally when you're playing into Jace with a Cassante, you can stand in front of the Jace and make it difficult. You can stand in front of your teammates and make it difficult for the poke to come through. But if you don't know where the Jace is standing because there's brushes, you don't have vision, then Jace finds these incredible accelerated shock blast angles and hits your Lux, or hits your Caitlyn, hits your mid laner, and then you're just at half health, and then you can't actually fight through the shields. So it's very impressive, again, what KT put together here. I think T1's answer was pretty interesting. Like, I don't think it's bad per se, but I feel like it is very risky and so reliant on that Nidalee getting ahead early, so reliant on that Caitlyn Lux lane getting massive advantages, which it should. In theory, one of the classic Zeri lane counters to push through and guarantee prio. Also the question of what Faker's form is going to look like on Corki today. You mentioned much better than his Tristana. This is Game 3 of a very important series for both of these teams.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing what Perfect is going to look like on this Mordekaiser as well. Once again, it's the Ivan for Pyosik. See how he goes as we jump into the Rift for Game 3. I feel like the T1 fan chants are extraordinarily loud, but you can hear the emotion and the desperation from KT fans every time, and it's fantastic. As BDD, he has played this Jace in the past, quite a few times actually. I think, you know, him and Showmaker, 2 examples of play 80 carry down, because there's that power trough as BDD. Whoa, he's just flashing in, looking for Faker here. Can he find the autos? And there's the last one, picks it up, doesn't die to the turret. Thank you very much, Pyosik.
KT fan?
No. It's 18 to 50. It's kind of absurd. Ona going to move in, look for the spear onto BDD. Is Pyosik going to need to shield him? BDD just able to get the kill. Still, it's answered this time as the jungle is now facing off. Pyosik without too much firepower. And Deft continuing to get zoned. So yeah, I mean, BDD did have that kill. There's a hook onto Carrier there at the same time as Beryl just desperately trying to do anything that he can. But he is now the one burning down. Deft trying to get anything done as that's a last auto, and that is a dead Beryl in the 2v2.
Is over. It's definitely done so. It feels like the game is over. They're making some good plays mid. Beryl, insane hook here as that's Faker's third of. Just aren't confident to fight this right now. They don't have any vision.
Ooh, okay, Life Binding does come on in. Peacemaker down as well as he's just dead. The final spark is going to be exactly that.
But this time T1 a lot more control than they had the last.
Yep, Ace and Hole going to come on through as there is the depth charge onto the Nidalee. He's burning, but so's Beryl, and there's Faker picking up his first kill. T1 now with a big advantage, but not necessarily in the health. He does not have his flash available. Root Caller comes down. There's the hook. BDD's like, give me my fourth, and he'll be able to pick. And Gumayusi going to be in trouble here as Perfect is just going to put him into the death realm. What are you going to do about it? And the answer is die. And then a whole bunch of stats now go over to this Mordekaiser. Hooks connecting, but the final spark is just going to end them. The all-out comes through from Zeus, and now the flash forward Deft smells blood in the water and wants to get some sort of kill here. As Zeus getting himself out, BDD presses W, but I don't know whether they're going to be able to quite find it as finally the kill comes in. The answer's there from KT. The kill fully out of the woods, but certainly feeling better than the way Deft is at this point in time, sitting on, like you mentioned before, just the Zeal. Alright, going to not necessarily find the target as Carrier just explodes. Beryl's going to be traded, but now BDD, he's on the prowl. The all-out angle is going to be there for Zeus, and he drags the Jace into the team. Gorgeously played from the man in the top lane, and that is going to give T1 the edge. Oh, Carrier going to be able to find a bit of a combo. There's the spear to land as well. Beryl is just dead. They find the pick, they set up the vision, and they're going to look for a Baron off the back end of it.
Area has been so essential in finding these bindings to actually punish this aggressive positioning from Beryl.
Well, there is going to be vision going into this Baron pit. Pioshik does have his flash available. Can he be the hero is the question. The answer is no. Zeus just said, get out of here. The Baron's going to be secured. Daisy's going to be taken down first. Pioshik is destroyed, and T1 just snowball the fight so beautifully. Yes, Perfect is able to kill a Lux, but I think Carrier did his job this game. Faker going to be able to lock down that kill. It's now 12-8.
T1 this telecom war.
Yep. Hook is going to miss here as T1 are just going to bear down on this inhibitor. Zeus says thanks for the gap close as Perfect's going to pull him in. That is Beryl dead for the 7th time this game. And KT just looking like there is absolutely nothing that they can do. We praised them for the draft, but things went so wrong in the early game. There was no way for them to utilize it in any way, shape, or form. Nexus turret's going down. T1 going to get some revenge against KT. They're going to move to 4th place in the LCK, and they're going to send KT to 7th with a victory here. Deft is trying to kite his way out of this one, but he's not going to be able to. He wanted to kite his way out of the early game. This is the way that he gets out of it, and it's via defeat at the hands of T1. They're going to be able to take this one here in the telecom war today.
I think teams forget about the Guma